military leaders do, and he had a great optimism for a better future, and whatever the cost. And that's two tenets of Stoicism: optimism and gratitude for life, because every day his life continued, it was gave him a sense of gratitude, obviously. Again, Oprah Winfrey, the famous entrepreneur and talk show host, says, be grateful for what you will have. You'll end up having more. And again, this runs along the theme of gratitude. Famous film star Leonardo DiCaprio said that if you can do what you do best and be happy, you are further along in life than most people. For me personally, he wasn't just a great actor in the 90s blockbuster movie Titanic, but he also gave a truly dramatic and fabulous, to my mind, performance in one of my favourite period films, The Aviator. Not to be confused with The Avatar or Avatar. No, The Aviator was a movie, of course, based on the life and times of that eccentric rich mogul, as they all are eccentric, these rich people. And, well, very ultra rich. You know, like the richest, they can become eccentric. And, of course, it's very difficult to be quite as eccentric as Howard Hughes. Okay. Maya Angelou suggested, we all know that she's a famous writer and poet, suggested we create vibes, happy vibes and love by being a rainbow in someone else's cloudy life, which is very true, because to help others, even though we feel a bit down ourselves, is often a great reward and keeps us happy and fulfilled, if you're a decent person, that is, which I hope the decency can prevail in people. Will Rogers said, don't let yesterday take too much of today. In other words, live for the moment. John Lennon said, love conquers all. And he also said words to that effect in that famous Beatles track, all you need is love. Love is all we need. And that track was an echo chamber of continually repeating love and words of love. Love is all you need. Love is all you need. And it matters not who you love and where you love and when you love and how you love. It matters only that you're loved and that you are actually able to love. Because without love, obviously, without compassion, the world will ultimately crumble in war and conflict, won't it? And we need love to fight against that kind of evil. Okay. William Wordsworth was the ultimate poet in thinking there are three parts to one's life, namely the past, the present and the future. He quotes that you have to learn to make sense of the past, to live for the present and profit by it, to hope and plan for tomorrow and live better in the future. So again, learn from the past, profit from the present and live better in the future, even. Wordsworth was perhaps the greatest and most well-known of the late poets, certainly the most well-known. He wrote during the Romantic era in the early 19th century on topics of Romanticism and Enlightenment. That period was from like the late 1700s to the early 1800s. He is most famous for his Ode to the Daffodil, of course, and his greatest collection of lakeside works, the Lake District in England, which were the Preludes. Martin Luther King Jr. said that you don't have to see the whole staircase. Again, another one talking about little steps, small steps. Just take the first step. And this quote amplifies Martin Luther King's commitment to fighting prejudice and gaining civil rights for the Afro-American people. And that civil rights are a stepping stone towards their equal rights in society. And his courage was in fighting one of humanity's most pressing issue. Okay. American President Theodore Roosevelt, affectionately known as Teddy, said you have to do with your best with whatever you have, wherever you are. And this mirrors his own sense of self-made and sound common sense. which seems to be lost on so far too many today. Okay. Frank Tiger is an editorial cartoonist, humorist and columnist from the United States of America. He particularly enjoys thinking up winning and original quotes, and he thinks that be free to do what you like, but when you like it, that's where the real happiness is. I turned it around a little from the original quote. Paulo Coelho, famous spiritual author and lyricist who wrote The Alchemist, among several other spiritual novels, and he's quite a prolific writer on that theme of it's a bit kind of, you know, the where you have the James Redfield kind of things, a novel within us which is entirely spiritual, you know, like kind of like the Bible and other religious works or allegories. Well, that's kind of the thing. The inspiration for his novels. He rightly quoted that it's best to do something relaxing before you make a real decision in life. So that was quite an earthy quote, and not necessarily sort of wrapped in any kind of spiritual message. It was a common sense message. Ray Kroc, who was the founding entrepreneurial mogul behind the business empire of McDonald's fast food chain, conceived the whole idea behind McDonald's and said that the two most important things in life were, of course, being in the right place at the right time, and secondly, to actually do something about it. In other words, you have to be lucky. In order to be lucky, you have to be motivated about your luck. Okay. So, we've nearly got to the end now. I think you're probably getting spiritually exhausted and maybe a bit exhausted of quotes by now. So, I want to put it in, you know, to make it episodic. Today, happiness is the spiritual experience of living every moment again with love, grace and gratitude, according to Dennis Waitley. So again, that follows on from the theme. He's still alive, nearly 92 years of age, I believe, and loves his quotes, being another American motivational writer and speaker. In other words, I think he thinks happiness is about being grateful and content with what you've got and not looking for things to complain about. A state of discontent and longing for more than you have, or greed, maybe even, breeds unhappiness. Famous actress, fitness fanatic and only daughter of Henry Fonda, Jane Fonda, reckons it's never too late to start over and be happy. Perhaps she's right, as the earlier quote implies happiness and contentment goes hand in hand. To follow up on this, she implies happiness is the key to a contented life, and you can be content at any age and vice versa. Margaret Lee Runbeck said, happiness is not a station you arrive at, but rather a manner of travelling. I can relate to that as external circumstances, as I've talked about in my own life and in the lives of all you guys out there to some extent maybe. It's best not to strive to be somewhere else in life, but to be resilient and happy in the moment. Again, that relates to mindfulness, and perhaps a way of being mindful rather than be mindful of your environment is actually to engage in a little meditation from time to time, and it doesn't have to be that long, 5-10 minutes will do a day. It's very easy to do, isn't it? You've got to find time for that, to just switch off. You can't be on full motor all the time, or else you'll exhaust yourself. So again, gratitude for life is part of travelling lightly, both practically and spiritually and mentally. However much you think, mindfulness doesn't prevent you from thinking. It just tells you to watch your thoughts float. So it's not telling you to be mentally defunct or anything like that. It's just telling you to let your thoughts drift off, and be aware of your thoughts. For instance, external circumstances, as I said, might always be difficult. Maybe there's always going to be difficult parts of life, but a happy person doesn't let them control their inner state of mind and lives their life to the full, with whatever they have in life, and they retain that zest for life by being mindful of everything around them. The train might totally elude us or always be too late for us. The goal is to seek happiness in spite of this. I think that's what she's trying to say. And not let bad times drag down your spirit, and say, be resilient, and don't lose that spirit, or zest for life. Margaret Lee Runbeck seems, from what I've read about her, to be a lovely lady. She was a teacher, a novelist, and humanitarian from the States, but she's probably most famous for her array of inspirational quotes. Compassion was centred truly in the heart of this person, and she had a gentle and unassuming outlook on life, to my mind. She knew wisely that she couldn't wait for happiness to arrive for her, and that was her innate wisdom speaking, as she had a relatively short life, only living to 51. So I think that wraps up the quotes, and I think I will continue with more 90s ballads from people like Shania Twain, maybe a couple more from ones I've already sung, like Sinead O'Connor, Annie Lennox. Okay, see ya.